This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. In the NBA tonight, the Warriors and the Timberwolves game 2 will be going on. Steph will not be there. He is out for at least a week in the next 3 games. That game will get going at 5:30. Minnesota is a 10.5-point favorite despite losing game 1 with the point total set at 201.5. And the Padres lose a tough one in extras yesterday. They'll be back tomorrow night against Colorado. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about fun Mother's Day gifts, all for under $15? Get low prices every day on unique finds before they're gone. In-store only at Macy's Backstage today. Find a location near you at Macy'sBackstage.com. Off price, on trend, and arriving daily.
And let's get it going on a Thursday. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Ben Fletcher. That is Sammy Long. We will be with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Plenty to get to today. First of all, the Padres, couple scares last night. Dylan Cease leaving a game in which he had a no-hit bid going until the end of the 6th, going into the 7th inning. Yeah, in the 7th inning, he has the no-hit bid going, and he comes out of the game with arm cramps, forearm tightness. I guess his arm was, or his hand was closed all the way. He couldn't open it for a couple seconds. Scary moment there, especially when you're dealing with forearms on pitchers. And then Jackson Merrill hit by a pitch in the 10th inning in the forearm. Can we stop hitting Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill in the forearm with really, really hard fastballs, please? That would be nice. Both guys appear to be okay. We'll see if we trust the Padres' word on that. Probably more on that as the week continues. We're going to get to the big three in the second. I'm sure it has a ton of NBA playoffs in it because this has been a very historic postseason so far, as the New York Knicks jump up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. In fact, both teams in the East, the Pacers and the Knicks, the road teams, both up 2-0 on the favorites heading into the series, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. On the West, we'll see what the Warriors can do tonight without Steph. They have an opportunity to go up 2-0, and the Denver Nuggets got that ass beat last night. Oh my God, OKC. Where was that in game 1? All of that will be covered on the show today. We will also be joined by Coach Kentera, the legend, coming up at 1:30 this afternoon. But before we get to anything, Sammy Long with the biggest stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
If you would like to watch the show today, we got 2 ways for you to do it. One on X at Fletch and Sammy, at Fletch and Sammy on X, and then on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. We would love a subscription. We would love a follow. Hi, Sammy.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
You ready to rip through some stories?
I'm ready to do it. Let's get into those Padres first. I was gonna go with this Dylan Cease injury. Is there nothing to worry about? But let's take a little pivot. Xander Bogaerts had a chance to win that game last night in the 10th inning. How bad of a look was that for him to not come to on a 3-2 count? Strikeout swinging.
Look, so that was the one to finish the game, right? Xander was up with 2 outs.
Yeah.
Manny was up
loaded.
Manny was up with 1 out with a runner on third. We're going to put the blame equally. We're going to spread it out amongst everybody who showed up to the plate in the 10th inning because they all had opportunities. Yeah, Xander's the one catching a little headlines today. Xander's the one who's catching the heat from Sammy on the big 3. But we're going to put it on everybody who showed up to the plate in the 10th inning because they all had opportunities and they all failed.
I hear you with that. It's it was weird for a game early in May in New York to kind of have almost a Hollywood script to it. If you would have drawn that up, how Bogaerts had been slumping, they've been playing a lot better the last week and a half, have been kind of getting his mojo back. Literally, bases loaded, top of the 10th inning, 2 outs. What is he going to do? And 3-2 count, goes out swinging. It felt like a very pivotal game for him. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying he's great, but that certainly would have changed a lot of the narrative around it. And he can't just be good in spots. This is what you've been talking about. It feels like Bogaerts is good for a week or a series. Then we go, he's out of it. And then we see right back where it was. $350 million. He should have came through in that moment. And it's disappointing that the Padres shelled out this kind of money for this kind of production.
It is frustrating. I get that, but there's a lot that goes into last night. It wasn't just that, but the bullpen gives up some runs again. Both Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada both giving up runs after Dylan Cease pitched a gem. And from my eyes, what the Padres did last night was waste the first gem of the season by Dylan Cease, who gave up 1 hit through 7 innings. He was fantastic last night. I does not get past me, by the way, that as soon as the words no hitter flashed on the television screen last night, that was when the hit was given up by Dylan Cease. But I don't know that you take away just Xander Bogaerts from this one, but it's everybody who showed up in the top of the 10th.
I get it. It's not solely Xander Bogaerts' fault, but if you would have told me that Cease had that kind of performance, and I know the bullpen had a rough inning there, but still, I mean, it's not, they're on the road. You're expecting the Yankees are going to score some runs. They are a good ball club. This is not just they're not playing the Rockies they're going to be playing this weekend. It's disappointing. I feel like the stars were kind of set up for Xander Bogaerts to come through, and he did.
It's frustrating. Next.
NBA. Who is in more trouble, the 0-2 Celtics or the 0-2 Cavs?
Dude, it feels like the 0-2 Cavs, doesn't it? Because they're hurt. They're more hurt. And if you're not healthy heading into this time of year, they were able to absorb it in the first round, but right now they don't look like themselves. Spida needs some help, man. Get Donovan Mitchell, somebody else who can score out there, somebody else who can do something for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Celtics have been here before, as odd as it is to say. I was reading this morning. This is actually the fourth time in the Al Horford era of the Boston Celtics that they've gone down 2-0 at home. Two of those series, they've come back to win. The one where they got down 3-0 to force the Game 7 was against the Miami Heat. So I don't know that the Celtics are in total panic mode right now, although they probably should be because the Knicks look pretty damn good.
I'm going with the Celtics because the Cavs.
You hate the Celtics.
Well, I hate them. I'm on cloud nine today that they lost. I was celebrating like I was a diehard Knicks fan. That was beautiful last night. But I mean, the Celtics are flat out getting beat. The Cavs, to the point of the injuries, yes, if none of them come back, that's a problem. But we knew going into the series, if Darius Garland's not there, he's the second best guard on the team for them. He has no help. Ty Jerome and Max Strus aren't helping out Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley's not there. Hell, even DeAndre Hunter isn't there. So I think Garland's coming back for Game 3. Hunter, Mobley, don't really know about him. But as long as if they fully get healthy, we'll see. I do think the Pacers are a really good team. But Boston, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Joe Mazzulla will not call a timeout. They have missed 75 threes in 2 games. 75 threes. In the fourth quarter, the numbers have been 2 for 15 in the Game 1, 2 for 11 in Game 2. This is what happens when you do not have a good coach in Joe Mazzulla, and people are going to go, he won a title last year. Yeah, with the most stacked roster in the NBA. How are you not calling a timeout and pulling everyone aside and go, if you're shooting another 3 when we're up 10 points in the fourth quarter, you're getting pulled off the floor?
Because there's 2 ways you could think about it. Either the Celtics make literally one more 3-pointer in either of the last 2 games and they win, or you change up everything. And look, the Celtics got here by playing their basketball, by playing Jason Tatum basketball. And it sucks when it doesn't work like this. But literally, how many did they miss in the first game? 35?
45.
45
30
threes
in Game 2.
30 in Game 2. You make one more in either of those games, you win those games.
I know, but this is how comebacks happen. In basketball, you're shooting the 3, get long rebounds, easy transition buckets. And people want to act like the Knicks aren't. The Knicks' problem heading into the series was not the starting 5. You talk about this in terms of a starting 5. The Knicks have some of the most talented in the entire league. It's just you're worried about the lack of bench depth. Mikal Bridges coming through with the block and Jalen Brunson being clutch down the stretch. I mean, I don't know what Boston's doing. It's a beautiful sight to see, and hopefully it keeps up.
All right, next.
All right, let's head to the third story. So tonight, Curry is hurt. He's out for at least a week. They said he could possibly return for Game 5. What are the Warriors' odds of them winning this series or keeping it close?
It definitely goes down, doesn't it? We were talking off air before we got on today, and look, if it wasn't going to be the Clippers this year, which obviously it wasn't, then I switched over to rooting for the Warriors because I really like Steph Curry. Looks like it's not going to be the Warriors either because Steph Curry's out. I am now a full-blown Knicks fan for the rest of the way because I really like what they're doing to the Boston Celtics, not just because of what Sammy says, but because the Knicks are a lot of fun to watch play basketball. I'm a big Jalen Brunson, and the way Mikal Bridges played the fourth quarter last night was perfection. But when you look at the Golden State Warriors, Steph down, this is either going to be a absolute Hall of Fame, one of the greatest playoff performers of all time moment from Jimmy Butler, or the Warriors aren't going anywhere. And I doubt Steph is back by Game 5.
Yeah, because the reporting is that he's going to be reassessed, not really that he's just coming back. I mean, talking before the show, the key for the Warriors is best case scenario he comes back for Game 5.
Is Buddy Hield going to score 25 a game the rest of the way?
Well, I don't think you can rely on that. What you can rely on is Jimmy Butler. What you can hope to rely on, the wild card we were talking about yesterday, is Jonathan Kuminga. Is Jonathan Kuminga going to become the guy that everyone thought he is? Because Kerr's going to be forced to play him now. There's really no excuse. I mean, if he doesn't play him, I don't know what the hell they're doing because he has that kind of talent to take them to the next level. The whole team has to step up. Now, tonight, all the pressure's on Minnesota because I don't even care if they don't have Curry. They need to win this game in Minnesota because going back to the Bay, if you're the Warriors, if you're a Warrior fan, if you can get one of these next 3 games and take it to Game 5, You hope Curry's back. Maybe you can, take it 2-2 and it becomes a series, but Kuminga's the wild card. But we've seen Jimmy Butler do this before. I mean, hell, what you just referenced, Fletch, the Boston Miami series, Jimmy Butler was the one that won that for him. He had an excellent game 7, so I wouldn't really put anything by him.
All right, before we get out of here for the first segment, just look back on the Padres night of last night. Like, Sammy, I get the Bogarts thing. We can harp on that all we want, but Tatis and Machado both struck out in the top of the 10th inning also.
Yeah, but
it's a little rough to just put it on Xander when expectations, would it be fair to say expectations need to be higher for Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. than Xander Bogaerts?
I'm with you on Manny. Tatis has come through time and time again over the last couple seasons. So I'm not going to sit here and kill Tatis because he is literally, the Padres would not be where they are without him. Machado, that's a fair criticism. He didn't show up in the playoffs last year. He goes through slumps. It's been a known thing. He starts seasons bad. But again, when we're looking at the contract of Xander Bogaerts, and it felt like the stars were aligning to possibly rewrite some of the criticism from everyone in San Diego, including myself and you, but he didn't come through. So yeah, he's a little bit more the certified patient. It's not completely on him, but it was an opportunity to completely rewrite the narrative, and he didn't come through.
He didn't come through. Neither did either of the other two Padres' biggest, highest paid players. It was a rough night last night. We'll see if you can get right against the Colorado Rockies. That's the get right team in the National League West. Now, it's going to be tricky playing at Coors Field, but Pods have the day off today. Start up a 3-game series with the Rocks coming up tomorrow. We will talk all about that with Coach Kentera. But coming up next, Warriors, or how much trouble are they in? How much fun are the Knicks? And kudos to you, one Paul Pierce. I don't know that I've ever said that before. I don't know that I'll ever say that again, but we'll talk about it coming up next. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances today for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway every hour from 6 to 6. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com, and you could throw $1,000 straight into your pocket. Next chance coming up to win at 1:00 today. Keep listening. You'll get that keyword. Take it over to sportssd.com. Two things here right off the top, and then we'll get into a little bit of a discussion about the 3-point ball and how it's ruining basketball. But Sammy Long, we had a winner last night on long shots.
Yes, we did.
How you feeling?
Feeling very good. We
$100 richer because that's what I am.
Normally I'd be upset that so our three other parts of the parlay hit, but Mikal Bridges tied. But because the Knicks won and the Celtics lost, we're okay with making a little less money just so Boston feels pain.
Dude, nothing wrong with a little push.
Nothing wrong with the push.
Nothing wrong with the push.
That means we weren't wrong. We weren't right.
Yeah, and on Mikal Bridges, because he got exactly 14 points, we were dead right, actually. But with Mikal Bridges getting exactly 14 points, it did take the win from 200 down to 100, but I'm fine with that. A win is a win, baby, and we needed a win in a big way.
We're starting a streak. Every time I win one, we start a little bit of a streak.
I mean, I'm already on a 2-day streak. I don't know what you're doing.
The fact that you're bragging about you making money and all of our listeners losing money is beyond me.
We do not know which listeners followed me and which one stuck with you.
No one followed your picks.
Very, very clear what I was doing on the day.
They were following Marshall and I's picks. Okay?
I followed Marshall's picks. Thanks a lot, Marshall. Loser.
He didn't know Tyrese Halliburton was going to sell it for him.
All right, but good for you, Sammy. That was a good one. Thank you, Sammy. We should all put thank you, Sammy, all over the text line today. 70470. Start your message with team. We'll get a new lineup from Sammy coming up at 12:45 today. Yesterday, in the what time is Speak for Yourself on?
It's on after First Things First. It's after our shows at 2:00.
So right after our show, there's a show called Speak for Yourself on Fox, and Paul Pierce is on that panel. Joy Taylor's on that panel. A couple other people, but Paul Pierce, who is a famous Boston Celtic, once had to poop himself in a game, I think, and went off on a wheelchair. But
yeah, everyone thought he ripped his ACL, but he just had to take a crap.
Paul Pierce had some big words ahead of last night's Celtics-Knicks game. Let's take a listen to what he said.
How confident are you?
If the Celtics lose game 2 at home, I promise you, I'm walking here tomorrow.
Why you gotta do that?
Wait a minute. I'm walking here 15 miles. I'm walking here.
I don't know. Keith, this is your friend.
In my robe.
Get your friends.
No.
In his robe.
Can we give some credit to Paul Pierce? He walked.
Yeah, and so at 15 miles, he posted this morning.
It was actually 20.2 miles.
Oh, 20. Okay. So he posted this morning the route. And
8 hours and 2 minutes of walking.
Yeah, I think he started at like 6 a.m. in LA to get to Speak by 2:00.
Which is in, I think it's in Studio City. I think that's where their headquarters are.
He's going to be dead tired when this show starts.
I want to know if he actually did it barefoot. There is a video of Paul Pierce walking and he was regretting his life choices. This was a couple hours in. It was 3 hours ago. So it was, what does that mean? 3 hours after he started this walk?
Kevin Garnett joined him.
Good for KG, man. Anything is possible. I've always said that. But with Paul Pierce, he actually stuck to it. And so actually, while I'm giving Paul Pierce credit, Sammy, I'm going to give you credit too, because the level that Paul Pierce just went for it and went all in on this is equal to the level of you singing, "You Could Be My Hero, Baby."
Yeah, that was good. And I never heard that song before too. So I was really just kind of doing it on the fly, but thinking I'm liking my karaoke chops.
If Paul Pierce actually walked barefoot, his feet are going to be completely destroyed by the time he gets to the studio.
There's no way he walked barefoot.
I hope not, but he was in his robe and he was walking.
He's probably got he's rich as hell. He's probably got like a Versace robe that he's walking in.
Do you hate Paul Pierce?
No, he is Kansas Jayhawk, so I used to root for him.
Kansas Jayhawk, and then one of the most famous Celtics of all time.
I mean, I hated him when he was with Celtic.
On a team with Ray Allen and KG.
That team
won a championship.
That is one of my greatest
Bryant.
Sports memories of all time is Game 7 when Sasha Fiacic hits the 2 free throws at the line, 83-79.
That dude wore a headband.
Sasha's the man.
Remember when he cut his hair and everyone was like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah, he got paid by the Knicks and everyone was like, all right, his kind of peak was Game 7 in LA.
His peak was that flowing hair that looked like a better Steve Nash. Sasha was fun. He was a good point guard. All right, let's get to the game from last night because the Boston Celtics, Sammy, remind me the numbers one more time. Game 1, they missed how many threes?
Game 1, they missed 45 threes. Game 2, they missed 30.
So in the course of 2 games, they missed 75 3-pointers and they lose each of those games by less than 1 possession.
I don't look at that as a positive, though.
I know, but if they make 1 3-pointer, this is a 2-0 series. 1 3-pointer in each game, this is a 2-0 series.
Okay, but I heard that after Game 1. I understood that when you go game one, you miss 45 threes, they squeak by, they go to overtime and they win. In the Knicks, the amount of output, I think Mikal Bridges played 51 of 53 minutes, something like that. I heard that then. In game two, what this tells me is you don't make adjustments. You're not making.
Hey, they missed 15 less.
They missed 15 less. Joe Mazzulla has no idea how to control this team. And shout out to Tom Thibodeau, because people have crushed him. He's gotten a lot of criticism for the amount of the lack of players, the lack of bench he goes into. But this guy knows he turns the faucet off on defense. That is what he is known for. That's what he made his hay doing. He is an excellent defensive head coach. And now you have a superstar in Jalen Brunson, who we might have all thought was a 2, but is a certified number 1 superstar and getting up there in terms of what some of the greatest Knicks of all time. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, they drafted Luka Doncic in the first round and Jalen Brunson in the second, and neither are on the team anymore.
Oh, it's brutal. Look, last night, you can look at a lot of things. I looked at actually one guy in particular, and it's not Jalen Brunson. I look at Mikal Bridges, who was scoreless through the first 3 quarters of that game. Fourth quarter, drops 14 points. He was like 6 of 10 from the field during that fourth quarter. He was incredible. And Mikal Bridges, if you remember from it back in his college days, the dude's a grinder, and he's turned that into the NBA too. At one point, he had the longest active streak of anybody for games played consecutively. Mikal Bridges is a dog. And the way that he played last night, really carrying the Knicks in the fourth quarter, was pretty freaking cool to see, especially over a team like the Celtics, who I don't hate nearly as much as Sammy hates them, but I do not like the Celtics very much. One thing, Sammy, say the Knicks head coach's name.
Tom Thibodeau.
I don't think the H is pronounced.
You know, I always said Thibodeau, and then last night I heard Kevin Harlan say Thibodeau.
I mean, Kevin's the GOAT, but I've always thought it was Tib.
Well, we'll figure that out.
I don't think it's Thibs. We call him Tibbs.
Tibbs. Okay, we'll figure it out. Maybe it's. I got corrected on Imanaga last week or 2 weeks ago, but I mean, you go back to the game in the fourth quarter specifically. This is where you have more of a problem with it. The Celtics shoot a lot of threes. That's what they do. 2 of 15 in game one in the fourth quarter from 3. 2 of 11 last night in the fourth quarter from 3. In overtime counted in the as well in the first game. How are you not pulling them aside and going, stop shooting threes? You are a big team. You have Kristaps Porzingis. It's like they're such a collective team, the Celtics, and they have so much talent. But who's the one? Is it Tatum? Everyone thought it was Tatum, but then it's Brown some nights.
It looked like Tatum hit a game winner last night.
Yeah, and it was kind of smart by the Knicks, just let him go to the lane and get the dunk and then take the ball back. But they're in trouble. I'm telling you, they're not sweeping at the Garden. That's a tough place to play.
It's going to be fun, man. This has actually been a really fun NBA postseason. By the way, the other game last night, we haven't even talked about it. OKC beat the crap out of the Denver Nuggets. Whatever.
Most points in a first half in a postseason game of all time.
Whatever was in the water in the big Gatorade cooler in game one for Denver that gave them superpowers was completely gone yesterday because OKC just took it to them and whooped that ass. That game was over by the end of the first quarter. It was done. Fun, though. Fun. Warriors play tonight. That's the only game tonight, right?
Only game tonight. Warriors, Minnesota. They're favored by 10.5.
Minnesota is?
Yeah. Now the Celtics were favored by 10.5 last night. The only thing I'll say, Minnesota probably wins this game handily tonight, especially after Chris Finch challenged Anthony Edwards. They're coming out flat in game one, but all the pressure's still on them. People want to say, you know, the series. Some people want to say, I don't think it is, that the series is over because Steph might be hurt for the whole thing, but they better win tonight because going to San Fran, that's a tough place to play. They need to win this game at home.
Would you like to take Minnesota? And if they lose, you have to walk to work tomorrow, barefoot in a robe?
I'll walk down the 15 from Rancho Bernardo.
How long of a walk would that be?
First off, I think it'd be a good 4 or 5 hours. I don't even know how you couldn't walk it. You get arrested.
You can walk on the freeway.
You can't walk on the freeway.
Sammy, come on.
First off,
man.
You want to go walk on the freeway together?
No, I don't want to do it. This is a you thing.
I love how you make bets for me that you have no repercussions.
Well, do you think Minnesota's going to win?
I think they're going to win. I don't know if they're going to win by 11 points.
You're like one of the most confident people I know. No, you can have money line. Nothing.
What do you have to do?
No, nothing.
What do you have to do?
No, I mean, if the Warriors win, great.
No. What are you drinking over there? Are you drinking a squirt today?
I am caffeine free. I'm off caffeine since last Thursday.
You know, this guy bragged to me yesterday. He comes in, he makes a big statement. He goes, I'm not drinking Monster anymore. Have you noticed? I go, yeah, I have. And then now all of a sudden we're loading up with squirts. We got Cokes yesterday.
No, I had no Cokes yesterday. I needed something bubbly, and this is caffeine free. It was the only caffeine free thing in the.
You know what's caffeine free? Water.
I have a water too, Sammy. Thank you very much. But Squirt gives me that grapefruit taste. We were talking about all-inclusive resorts down in Mexico yesterday, and so Paloma was on my mind. Squirt, one of the main ingredients in a Paloma, the way I make it. So We're dealing with stuff. If you want to text the show, 70470, start your message with team. You can always leave a chat on our YouTube page at San Diego Sports 760. In fact, Alexander got in that early and often, saying, anyone check the odds earlier of the new Pope being American?
Hey,
there is a new Pope.
And his name made some money
Robert.
Today.
His name's Robert.
Shout out to the new Pope, man.
He's from Chicago or something.
And he went to Villanova. Big day for Villanova. New Pope, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges clutching up in the fourth quarter.
I saw on social media, is it weird that the new Pope is a Cubs fan, which means he hates Cardinals? People are getting clever with it. Congratulations to the new Pope, Robert. Yeah. I think his new name is Leo, though. They get a new name when they become Pope.
I was watching a little bit earlier, but got to do my research on
it. Is a cool way that they announced the new Pope with the smoke coming out the chimney.
I like that.
What else could we do that? Like a big announcement should be involving smoke. It's San Diego Sports 760. We'll think about that one during the commercial break. When we come back, let's talk about Dylan Cease's forearm and Jackson Merrill's forearm. Both of them got injured last night. We'll give you the latest news on what happened next.
The sport sponsored by Primatine Mist. In the NBA tonight, the Warriors will be in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves for game 2. That game will get going at 5:30 with Minnesota favored by 10.5. And in the National Hockey League tonight, the Oilers and Golden Knights will be going game 2, 6:30. Edmonton came back to their third comeback win of the postseason in game 1. Edmonton is currently underdog at plus 105. Vegas is minus 125 for game 2 at 6:30. During an asthma attack, every second feels like an eternity. Primatine Mist works fast. It's clinically shown to open airwaves quickly, providing quick relief of mild symptoms of intermittent asthma. Give the #1 FDA-approved over-the-counter asthma inhaler, Primatine Mist. Breathe easy again.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Follow us on X at Fletch and Sammy, on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Love to interact with you that way. I've been thinking way too hard about this, about ways to announce different things with smoke, like the Pope was announced this morning. Congratulations to Robert from Chicago, by the way. He's the new Pope. But as we put our heads together and kind of thought about this, Marshall's in here too today. As we were thinking about this, I came up with, like, what if you got a restaurant or something that's famous for, like, its chicken wings, but they only sell it at a certain time each day. And so to announce to the world that the chicken wings are open and ready for sale, they release a bunch of smoke up into the air.
It's a possible fire hazard, but I like where your head's at.
No, it's just smoke. The smoke isn't fire.
Marshall had a good idea. What was yours again? Results of an MRI.
So an ACL is torn. Yeah, so it's black
like,
smoke.
It's like everyone. It's like the press conference. They're waiting, and then it just turns a certain color. Marshall came up with that one.
So, all right, if the ACL is torn, we're going black smoke. If the ACL is fine,
and then it's like a wah wah, and then it's like good. It's like, hey,
oh no, Steph! Oh, he's gone for a week.
No.
Oh. So what color is Dylan Cease's smoke going to be? I think that's the real question.
Yes, what color is Dylan Cease's smoke?
So Dylan Cease, if you're watching yesterday, man, it's like that, exactly what Sammy and I were talking about yesterday. Dylan Cease will go stretches like he started off this season on, where he is just getting hit all over the yard, but then he'll go in a month where he looks like the most unhittable pitcher in baseball. Literally, dude was carrying a no-hitter through 6 innings yesterday. And then, of course, TV puts up no-hitter on the screen, boom, hit, no-hitter over. But what happened in the 7th is the more concerning thing. So he gets the first out in the 7th, and then he has a guy 1-2, and all of a sudden he's standing on the mound, kind of grabbing his forearm, and his hand is clutched like this. And he said afterwards it wasn't voluntary that his hand was doing that. He was having a forearm cramp. Now, I've heard of a lot of cramps before. I don't know that I've heard of a forearm cramp before, but the Padres say everything is fine, that they're not worried about it. Mike Schilt said, yeah, he went through all the tests, passed with flying colors.
Yeah.
How many times have we heard that before?
Well, yeah, that's where you get a little like Cronenworth. Oh, he'll be back tomorrow, and then it's like a month and a half later. Now, I'm gonna give Dylan Cease some credit. He pitched well.
He was awesome.
He was great. And number 2, I like that actually. I know some people are like, "Oh, why are you pulling yourself out of a game?" Like, if especially with pitchers, like, because that thing can snowball fast. And we've seen this in the Dodgers have been the real recipient of it. Tyler Glasnow keeps kind of pushing through injuries and keeps getting worse. I'm happy that he kind of pulled himself out of the game if he felt anything, because he is so crucial to the pitching staff. I mean, Dylan Cease can't go down, especially not knowing. I mean, they keep telling us that Yu Darvish, he's coming back. He's coming back.
There was positive news today from Kevin Acee on Yu Darvish that he's getting closer.
But even if Yu Darvish comes back, which it sounds like he will, and it's a big boost for the Padres rotation, at his age, being 38 years old, you don't want him pitching all the time. I mean, knowing that once injuries start to happen, they usually happen more and more. Ideally, you'd want Yu Darvish to kind of gear up, have the Padres playing well with the starting rotation, and then heading into the playoffs, who was kind of the Dodger killer, and Yu Darvish fully healthy. And so I'm happy that Dylan Cease kind of pulls himself out of the game and doesn't let it snowball.
This is what Dylan Cease said afterwards. Quote, "It was just a forearm cramp. It basically made my hand close tight for a couple seconds. I don't think it's anything too serious. I honestly was going to throw some more pitches and see if I could go. But I think the smart thing was to do what we did there, which was pull himself out of the game." Now, in the short term, that kind of stinks because Jason Adam immediately gave up the 2 tying runs in the game, and then Estrada came up and gave up the lead. So the Padres ended up getting hurt by Dylan Cease leaving in that moment. But hopefully long-term, like Sammy said, that is the right thing to do. The Jake Cronenworth one, believe it or not, was actually a little more concerning for me because not Jake Cronenworth, sorry, Jackson Merrill. Because Jackson Merrill just comes off the IL, comes back, and is playing really great. Hit a home run again yesterday. Dude's on fire on his return. And then in the 10th inning, Jackson Merrill gets hit by a pitch in the forearm, which we just saw happen with Fernando Tatis Jr. And if you remember after that game, Fernando's like, yeah, I honestly thought my season was over when that ball hit me. Jackson Merrill somehow looked worse yesterday when he got hit by a high, tight fastball that hit him right in the forearm. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, no, we just got him back and he's going to be gone. And it appears that Jackson Merrill is fine too. So hopefully he is fine and can continue this pace because the dude, he's already looking like a top 10 player in Major League Baseball. And I don't even think that's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah. No, thank God he's okay because we are tired of seeing all these injuries. I mean, it's insane what's going on. I was just looking at switching topics a little bit, the Padres schedule. Have you seen the Padres schedule?
Rockies next.
Rockies,
get 3 of them.
6-29. Angels 15-20. Then the Mariners 22-14. So that's a solid team right there. The Blue Jays losing record, Braves losing record, Marlins losing record, and the Pirates losing record. The next legit tough team the Padres are going to play is the Giants on June 2nd. I mean, if you're looking out like this is an opportunity for the Padres to really stack up some wins here.
And by the way, you're getting the Angels with Mike Trout injured once again. He's on the 10-day IL as of last Friday, which is retroactive May 1st. So he might be back by the time. But that's a knee contusion. If you Google Mike Trout's name right now, the first thing that pops up is the end near for Mike Trout. Kind of scary when you're thinking about one of the best players I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's such
a shame that he plays for the Angels.
He's just been buried there his whole career.
And not just to diss the Angels. I have no problem with the Angels, but it's he's just it's so odd that we've seen a player in Mike Trout who is a generational type player who I think it's partly due to his not having a big personality and then playing in between the Padres and the Dodgers, just a franchise that hasn't really been good in 20 years. I mean, it's kind of insane that he is not more of like in terms of talent, he's a generational player. But we don't think of you think of Fernando Tatis before you think of Mike Trout in terms of like excitement and if you had kids coming up wanting to play baseball, I think you'd want to be more like Fernando than Mike Trout.
And also, if you think about the league's top superstars, you could probably name what Aaron Judge has been doing so far this season. You could talk about Bryce Harper, what he's been doing this season. Mike Trout, I just had to Google to see if he was even playing this year because I didn't know if he was injured or not.
I can't believe he hasn't requested a trade.
I think he likes it, dude. He's a very private guy. I think he loves the fact that the Angels paid him a bunch of money. He doesn't have to deal with any of the limelight. I think Mike Trout is very, very happy that we don't talk about him on a daily basis. I like to think that's what I would be as a baseball player.
Oh, please.
Very humble, Sammy.
You would
very
be at
behind
the first
the scenes.
one at the mic.
No. I'd like to be very, very back.
You ever seen those Leon Budweiser commercials where he goes, the lineman's fault, it's the coach's fault, it's the player's fault, turf, owner, referees? That'd be you.
Yeah, I mean, when we lose a long shots, none of it's on me. It's all on Sammy.
We hit a winner.
We had a winner last night, baby. I got $100 in my pocket.
Yeah. So, burritos on Fletch. That's what Marshall said. I like that.
Anytime, Marshall.
Burritos on Fletch.
I would love to buy you a burrito because that means I also get to eat a burrito, and that's always a good day. All right, Long Shots is coming up in just a few minutes. We do have a giveaway today. We're giving away a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival, where you can see Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hull all performing live May 15th out in Chula Vista at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets right after Sammy delivers some long shots. See if he can make it 2 days in a row.
Starting a streak.
For me, 3 days in a row.
No one cares about your third day.
Well, I mean, if they were listening 2 days ago when I made
you know what? It'd be one thing if you went against my picks and I'm going to fade Sammy's picks, and you could pick. The listeners can go, all right with Sammy, all right with Fletch.
Two of the three of them.
No, you didn't. Marshall gave us picks. I gave picks. You quietly, without telling anyone,
dude, I
switched the picks.
Sammy, hang on.
Under.
Stop that narrative, because I told everybody the moment it happened. You asked if I had any vetoes. I said I don't have vetoes. I do have changes, and I switched both of them.
No, and I went with your switch.
No, you did not.
Yes, we did.
You did it.
You texted me.
It was this whole thing. It was a whole bugaboo.
You texted me during the game, and we're celebrating the fact that Buddy Hield at over 9.5 points. I'm like, why are you celebrating? We had under on long shots, and then you send me your thing. I think it's a little embarrassing. I think people are wondering in the chat right now why you need to show your camera every day of the bet you're placing so we know where you stand.
619, where I'm from, you follow the sight and smell the smoke. It means that the queue is cooking from SoCal Jayhawk.
Hey,
dude, there are some good barbecue places here. I would love it if they just started just releasing that smoke. The smell of brisket cooking on the smoker. Whiskey Bent 12 from Twitter says Snoop Dogg album releases should just be announced with smoke for show.
100%. I think they are.
I think Whiskey Bent 12 and Sammy speak like the same language.
Yeah, I really relate a lot.
He says
SoCal
things like
Jayhawk on Whiskey Bent.
low key and faux show.
Whiskey
That's
Ben
very
knows
Sammy.
what's up. With like that kind of text, like that's a valid.
Viva Padres
text.
says Mike Trout needs a change of scenery. Come on to San Diego, Mike.
That would be a tremendous ad. Can you imagine if the Angels?
I wouldn't hate it.
Play with me for a second. If the Angels lost Shohei Ohtani right up north of the Dodgers and then lost Mike Trout right down south to the Padres,
you would think that Mike Trout at this point, he's got to be 31, 32 years old. You would think at this point in Mike Trout's career, he's finally like, let's go win a World Series.
But it's like, how do you get out of bed? Like, you've made a ton of money. You're one of the best players in baseball. You've been like that for the last 10 years.
He's 33.
Yet you're irrelevant. You're completely irrelevant in terms of the national picture, especially in a sport where if you're not playing into the postseason, outside of being a local, the local city caring about it, like when do we ever talk about the Miami Marlins? We don't, unless they're playing the Padres. The NFL, every team gets talked about because it's the NFL. It's the biggest thing. I can't believe Mike Trout doesn't want out and go take me somewhere. He's a big Philly fan. I can't believe he isn't trying to request a trade to Philly.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We have a text from the 615. I believe that's our buddy Budweiser Scott talking about something Sammy pronounced, but I missed this one. So
615 is looking out for me on the ad read.
All right, we'll discuss over the commercial break and come back with some of the best pronunciation of words you've ever heard from Sammy Long. Long Shots is next. Your chance to win Outlaw Music Festivals also coming up next. Stay tuned. San Diego Sports 760. Download the Prize Picks app today, especially if you want to win some money. Because yesterday on Prize Picks, Sammy Long and I both won a little bit of money, $100 extra in the account this morning because of a lineup that Sammy made. He's going to give you a free lineup coming up in about 4 minutes right here on San Diego Sports 760. But if you download the Prize Picks app, you're going to want to use promo code FLETCH, FLETCH. That's going to get you a $50 bonus right off the bat. So you can take this lineup that Sammy's about to give you, put it in, and maybe win up to 2,000 times your cash on Prize Picks. Download the app today. No matter what sport you're into, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer. What else we got on here? I said hockey, tennis, MMA, Korean Baseball League, soccer, everything is on Prize Picks. That's what's on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch and take advantage of the promotions. Between a Taco Tuesday and a Flex Friday, there are 2 chances a week where Prize Picks is trying to win you some extra money. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch. Takes about 50 seconds to get that extra $50 bonus bucks on Prize Picks. So download the app today. And then coming up in 4 minutes, we're giving you a free lineup. Stay tuned. San Diego Sports 760. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates do apply. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch. Get the $50 bonus. You can use that $50 bonus to put in a lineup right now because Sammy Long's about to give you a free one. Yesterday was a winner on long shots. We needed one in a big way, and Sammy delivered. Hashtag faith in Sammy. Hashtag thank you, Sammy. But coming into today, are you feeling good? You feeling like your head's getting a little too big?
I'm feeling good. When you hit one, it feels easier the next day.
We had this a few weeks ago. Sammy hit one.
I hit 5 in a row.
One rolled into 5. So are we going to do that again? Well, there's only one way to find out. Sammy Long, hit that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, got it. It's time for Sammy's long shots.
What I liked about yesterday, Sammy, was it wasn't just basketball. It wasn't just baseball. It was a little combination of both. Where are we going today?
We got 3 sports in this one today.
Hockey?
Yes, we do. We have a little hockey going on, so we can be interested in everything.
All
right, so let's start. I'm gonna take one of these out. Actually, I have a 4-leg parlay right now. I'm gonna have four-leg parlay: 1 hockey, 1 baseball.
Buddy Hield more than 15.5 points.
You love Buddy Hield. You really want? All right, we'll deal with that after. All right, we're going for the Warriors. Brandon Podziemski more than 13 points. He's gonna need to be more of a factor offensively in this game. He was able to take a little bit of a back seat because Buddy Hield was having such a big night, but he was really focusing on defense. He's going to need to be a scorer. He's going to hit some points. I think they're going to be keying on Buddy Hield because as Fletch mentioned, he had a great game 7 against the Rockets, had a great game 1. I think this is Podziemski's game. They're going to be sending everyone at Jimmy Butler. So the supporting cast is going to need to help out. Podziemski more than 13 points. Now to Minnesota. Anthony Edwards more than 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm not going his point total because I think this could possibly be a little bit of a, not a blowout, but a 15-point game where he gets sat at the end of the game. I think Anthony Edwards gets back to being a little bit more of a distributor. That's what he was when he was at his best against the Lakers. He was really getting involved, making the right passes. The Lakers were kind of playing this little box and one zone they had, and he said it confused him in game 2. And then he ended up figuring it out. I think he gets a big assist total tonight. So 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists were covered there. Now, Dodgers playing the Diamondbacks today. This is a fun series. These two always have a pretty wild 4-game stretch. I'm going to Yoshinobu Yamamoto, more than 5.5 pitcher strikeouts. 4-game series. The Dodgers cannot burn their pen. They're coming off a Miami road trip where they took 2 of 3, but they actually had to burn a little bit of their pen in the game 2 when they thought they wouldn't have to use some high leverage arms, and they had to come in because they came back a little bit. I think Yoshinobu Yamamoto, they're going to need to start the weekend off Thursday, but letting him go. He's been literally the best pitcher in baseball all year, so more than 5.5 strikeouts for him. Then on to hockey. Edmonton and Vegas, game 2, Vegas. Edmonton came back on Vegas. 3.5 shots on goal. Red Demon, more than for Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid could have won for the first 2 periods. As someone who is a Los Angeles Kings fan, has been tormented by this man year in and year out. He, at the end of games, if they're losing, he just turns on the Jets and gets after it. 3.5 shots on goal. I feel very confident about this, more on the Red Demon. So let me recap.
Did you keep saying you feel really confident about it so I don't veto that one?
No, you can veto whatever one you want. Brandon Podziemski, more than 13 points. Anthony Edwards, more than 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, more than 5.5 pitcher strikeouts. And Connor McDavid, more than 3.5 shots on goal. Red Demon. I understand if you want to take a Red Demon out.
Now let's stick with the Demon. I like getting a little risky. I do not like Yamamoto.
Really?
Can we change it? Like do a different category for him?
Well, what do you want to do? I don't think he's going less than. I know, like the Dodgers, but
they had his pitcher outs on there, 17.5. So what is that? He just has to get into the 7th. Think he's going to get into the 7th?
Okay. All right, we can flip that.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they're going to play him along. I think Roberts is going to not try to burn the pen. That's why. So I think he's going to go a long way.
If he pitches 6 innings, this hits. Because if he gets 18 outs.
So it's more than 17.5 pitching outs.
So he just needs to go 6 innings.
Okay. So we'll flip it to that. Brandon Podziemski, more than 13 points. Anthony Edwards, more than 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Connor McDavid, Red Demon, more than 3.5 shots on goal. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, more than 17.5 pitching outs.
I kind of feel like going less on Anthony Edwards, but we're going to stick with it because tonight's probably a big night for him.
Do you want to go less?
Nope.
Trying to confuse everyone.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
We're
more
good.
than 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I like
Submitted.
this. I like
Done.
this. We have 3 sports in here.
I did it Sammy's way. There, submitted. Everyone can see it.
Yeah, that's good. See that right there? You know I place them right.
I like it. I do. This is going to be a fun game. Warriors T-Wolves tonight. I don't really know what Steve Kerr has up his sleeve to sort of adjust for going into a game without Steph Curry. But you got to think Minnesota is not going to be nearly as bad from the field as they were in game 1, especially in the first half. They could not make a shot. DiVincenzo bricked everything. Anthony Edwards had 1 point in the entire first half. I'm going to say the Warriors cannot rely on a repeat performance, at least in the first half. But what I would also be curious of is you notice in the first series with the Warriors, they just punted on 2 different games in that series against the Rockets. And one of them was game 2. So they got the game 1 win. And then game 2, it didn't start off going their way. Like Jimmy Butler got hurt in that game right off the top. And so they just benched everybody in the second half and got healthy for heading back to the Bay Area. I wonder if tonight's a little bit of that.
I could see that, but at the same time, this is a momentum setting game. Even if they don't win the game, I think they need to show that they can fight, because if they come out here and get slaughtered without Curry and they just get crushed, I think you could see what kind of happened with the Thunder and Nuggets. The Nuggets steal game 1. Everyone's looking at, are the Nuggets going to win? And then the Thunder blast them, run them off the floor. Don't even look like they deserve to be there. They need to put up a fight tonight. So I think he leaves his guys in, but I see that point of they have done that before. And it really ties back to the fact that this team is pretty bipolar in the sense of if they're hitting threes, they're tough to beat. If they're not, they're not. And they were in game 1. So give them credit in that regard. But I'm really curious to see the Kuminga minutes tonight. That's what I'm looking forward is how much time is he going to play? Is he going to play with Butler? Is he going to play opposite Butler? What's going to happen there?
More or less than 10.5 minutes for Kuminga.
Oh, more.
Got to be more.
Easy more. Because there's no way you can keep him on the bench. We should have Mark Willard on, because every radio station in the Bay Area is going to go, why is he not playing? If Buddy Hield in post,
Steve Kerr don't like him.
Yeah, but
I think it's pretty easy.
Get over that. You can not like him when Curry and Butler are there. When one of your 2 best players are gone, Kuminga arguably is the 3rd most talented player on the team, and you're not going to play him because you don't like him. I understand you're not playing him with Curry because he kind of messes up the offense in terms of they want to shoot threes, but you need a slasher. It can't just be Butler tonight. He's got to have some help.
All right. In terms of guests, our show has some pretty great ones coming up over the next 3 hours of showtime. All right. So the last hour today, we have Coach Kentera on. We have him on every Thursday. Love the coach. Can't wait to talk some Padres with him. Coming up tomorrow, Steve Hartman will be here for his regular appointment on Fridays. We got to get some Uncle Steve out of the way before the weekend. It really sets you on the right trip for the weekend. Also tomorrow, Tom Penn, the CEO of SDFC, is going to be jumping on the show because SDFC just announced as of today that they are partnering with Liberty Military Housing to celebrate and support San Diego's military families. A very cool project that SDFC has been working on. They're actually the founding partner of Liberty Military Housing. So this is a very, very cool partnership that SDFC is doing. We're going to find out all about it tomorrow at 12:30 from the CEO of SDFC, Tom Penn. Excited about that as well. It will also get you ready for their upcoming match with St. Louis and get you all the latest news in terms of the MLS here in San Diego. Coming up next, we got a new Big 3 coming for you in hour number 2, the biggest stories in the world of sports. We have an update, believe it or not, on Paul Pierce, who is making his big walk. And we'll get into this Padres with the 2 injuries they got yesterday. The latest news, update you on that. And we'll recap what Sammy just gave you on long shots for a free, hopefully, $250 you could win tonight. San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Padres off day today after losing last night to the Yankees, losing the series. They'll be back in Colorado tomorrow at 5:40. Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. And then tonight in the NBA, the Warriors will be in Minnesota taking on the T-Wolves in Game 2. Minnesota's favored by 10.5 with the point total set at 201.5. That game will be going at 5:30. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. Like the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a JBC 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink, because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. For the best deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price, participation may vary.
Yeah, welcome in. It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Those tickets we will give away in the next 10 minutes, so keep on listening for Outlaw Music Festival tickets. As soon as we are done with the big 3 of hour number 2, we will give you those tickets. A question that just popped up on ESPN, and I've seen written a lot over the last 2 days since that trade went down between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys of George Pickens heading to the Cowboys, has been, have the Cowboys closed the gap on the Eagles and the Commanders? There's one team name being left out there in the NFC East, and that would be the New York Giants, who, sue me if I'm crazy, but I feel like Dallas Cowboys are closer to the New York Giants right now than they are to the Eagles or the Commanders in the NFC East. Am I crazy for saying that?
Well, the divisions, if you take the question at face value, yes, they got closer because Pickens on the field does help. But yeah, I think there's a legit chance they finish 4th still. I mean, it's tough because the Cowboys, when they're healthy, despite all the playoff failures, despite all that stuff, Dak did miss most of the year last year. That will be a really good offense. I still have questions about the running game, and the defense is the problem. They didn't really address the defense, and that's a major issue. We're assuming Washington's taking the next step. They got better. They spent a lot on their defense. Philly is going to be really good. They did, though, lose a lot of that defense. Slay's gone. Williams is gone. Multiple pass rushers are gone. Now they still got Jalen Carter there. They still got Zach Bond there, so they're going to be good. But yeah, I'm curious. The Giants are young. The Giants are them and Washington are the 2 youngest teams in that division.
They're young, and they got a dual-headed monster on defense right now, man, with Thibodeau and with they just drafted him.
Oh, Carter. And they got Dexter Lawrence.
Like, it's going to be a ferocious defense out in New York. And if Jackson Dart is serviceable, man, I'm a huge fan of Malik Neighbors. I actually think their offense is pretty good too. We'll see. And Brian Daboll is a good coach. It just hasn't worked in New York yet. And maybe this is the year where everything breaks through now that he has a young team that he can sort of craft around exactly what he wants. I feel like the Cowboys got a real shot at finishing 4th in this division. Maybe that's insane to say, but with an unproven head coach as their head coach this year, first timer, with Jerry Jones still pulling all the decisions, with at least one, and CeeDee Lamb has shown at times he can be 2. Whoa, big one. At least one head case in the wide receiver room. I really feel like the Dallas Cowboys might have some trouble next year. But we got a whole offseason to talk about how bad the Cowboys are going to be next year. For now, let's focus on what's going on in the here and now. Jackson Merrill and Dylan Cease both get kind of injured last night in their game against the New York Yankees. Scary moments for each of them. The reporting as of today is that they're both fine, in that Jackson Merrill should be back on tomorrow when they play against the Colorado Rockies. Dylan Cease shouldn't miss any time. Hopefully that is the case. The Boston Celtics are down 0-2 to the New York Knicks. The Cleveland Cavaliers are down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers. The East has lost its mind with both road teams going up 2-0. So it is that time for Sammy Long to take us through the top stories in the world of sports as we lay everything out there for hour number 2 with Coach Kentera jumping on at 1:30. Sammy, hit the button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Where are we starting in hour number 2?
We're starting the National Football League. So get this. Tyreek Hill has a top 5 today. He just had his second wrist surgery. Top 5
He's getting screws out of his wrist today, I think.
Top 5 QBs in the NFL, in no order. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Joe Burrow. Now, there's one quarterback that was left off that.
Wait, was Baker Mayfield number 4?
In no order. These are top 5. He had Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Joe Burrow. Now, Tua Tagovailoa was not put on that list. And 2 years ago, Tyreek Hill said he was the most accurate passer. He was actually more accurate than Patrick Mahomes is what he said. Do you think he's trying to get himself out of Miami? What do you think of that list?
Now, there was some drama at the end of last season with Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins where it seemed like he requested a trade, and then 2 days later he was like, no, I don't want to trade. I'm happy right here in Miami. So, yeah, obviously this has been brewing for a little bit. Leaving Tua off the list does not feel unintentional. However, I will say, when you go in for surgery, some of the drugs they give you are incredible. And so if Tyreek Hill was huffing on that gas and then he put out that tweet, that might make a little more sense. I saw Bleacher Report's quarterback rankings today, by the way, and they are as insane. Patrick Mahomes is like number 4.
We love it. That's more bullets and more material for the Chiefs, as Nick Wright would say. But who was one? It was Allen, right?
Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, all quarterbacks Mahomes have beaten the postseason, but that's here nor there. That's for another day. Tyreek Hill, yeah, that's
ballsy though.
It's his ball, and well, because he said, remember his post right when they lost the last game of the season. He's in the locker room and he kind of insinuated he wanted out, and then he went back and apologized. He keeps retweeting stuff about people maybe wanting out. Tyreek's funny, man. I still love Tyreek from his days in Kansas City. It's I think Tyreek Hill is a perfect example of he won a ring in Kansas City. He got his money, something the Chiefs couldn't have paid him in Miami, and then this is the problem. You go get your money, and not that Tua is a bad quarterback. Tua is a fine quarterback, but he can't stay healthy, and he's not, even when he's healthy, Tua's in that, not Kirk Cousins anymore, but the Kirk Cousins, the Dak Prescott, the Brock Purdy, that whole range of quarterbacks where they have good moments, but are they really game-changing for the NFL playoffs? No. You have a problem with that?
I do.
Really? You think Brock Purdy's better than Tua Tagovailoa?
I think Brock Purdy's been a lot farther than Tua Tagovailoa.
That's not what I asked.
He's been a lot farther than Kirk Cousins. He's been a lot farther than Dak Prescott. So everyone on the list you just named, none of them have been to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy has.
Okay, well, Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl as well.
Jared Goff's a good quarterback.
Jared Goff's a really good quarterback. He's above Brock Purdy.
I would have him slightly above Brock Purdy.
Oh, God, I just can't wait for that deal to come in, that Brock Purdy $55 million per year.
What's next?
I am so excited.
We'll release red smoke when that deal happens.
Yeah, it's the fire alarms going off. Okay, get this. Cheapest ticket to Celtics Knicks Game 3. Ticket on resale. The cheapest ticket to sit up top in the back row is $600. There are tickets going for as much as $54,000 to sit on the floor in this game.
So I saw something about this pop across social media earlier today. So I went and looked at each of the next upcoming games in the postseason series for each of these teams, how much tickets would be. Warriors Timberwolves tonight, you can get in for less than $90. If I'm living in Minnesota, I'm going to that game. That is a great price to go see Minnesota and Golden State go at it for game 2. Cavaliers Pacers in Indiana. That one was $167 was the cheapest ticket. This was as of 4 hours ago. And then Thunder Nuggets, it was $178 as of 4 hours ago. Celtics Knicks, you couldn't even get to the ticket purchasing portion of the page without joining a queue that had an estimated wait time of over an hour. Over an hour.
That is fascinating.
I did not wait, but if I would have waited, I believe the cheapest ticket that was going from a screenshot I saw, again, 4 hours ago, was $698.
What's the most? This is a good question for the text line as well. 70470. Start your message with team. 70470. Start your message with team. What's the biggest purchase you've ever made going to a game? What is a game that you were like, I can't miss this. I don't care what the price is. How much did you spend on the ticket?
I don't know that I've ever spent more than like $100 on a ticket for anything.
So you've never been to an NFL game?
I've been to an NFL game. My brother paid for the tickets
for $100.
My brother paid for the tickets. We went up and saw Tom Brady at SoFi. Okay, false, because I did go to a Niners-Rams game when they were playing at the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
I think I paid $120 each for me and Kendall to go.
Damn, so you're not treating her to the big boy seats. You had them sitting way up top.
We were up high, and it was hot as hell. Man, oh my God, we were roasting in a sea of 49ers fans.
The Coliseum, or the you mean the Coliseum or the Rose Bowl?
Whichever one they were playing in for
Coliseum, a while. Yeah. That song gets after you.
God, we were roasting in literally a sea of 49ers fans. I don't think there was a single Rams fan there.
I spent more money on Navarrete tickets this weekend than you spent in your whole career at this thing. I can't believe that.
I like watching on TV. I mean, I've been to plenty of games that people paid for me. Is that a bad thing to say?
Mooching off everybody.
Yeah, for most of my life, I was really, really poor.
I don't know. Like, cause it's interesting. People always go, "Oh, would you want to go to the Super Bowl?" I wouldn't even really want to. Like when the Chiefs ran it, like I'm kind of like you in that regard. I'd rather watch it on TV. Basketball is different because you can sit wherever and it's a good spot. Like you could be in the third deck and it would be exciting. Whereas like even baseball, if you're sitting way in the outfield, like for a playoff game, it's kind of like you don't really see what's happening outside of, you're probably watching the big board more than you're actually watching the game.
I bought tickets to a Padres game a couple years ago, and we sat up in the 300 section behind home plate, and then there were $15 tickets each. And I think that's my ideal spot to watch the Padres, up in the 300s, all the way back with the bleacher creatures, sitting way back behind home plate.
Right, so you can see what's happening.
But that third concourse level still has a bunch of great food. And so I think that I'm happy up there. I don't need to be any closer. I don't need to pay $270 to sit third baseline.
And third baseline, like if you're like, I'm like trying to watch the game.
And they put the nets up, so now you're not even getting hit with a bat.
Yeah, and
lame.
You would bring a glove to a game.
Exactly.
So you'd be protected.
You're darn right. What's next?
Let's go back to Curry. Curry said he is gut punched that this has happened and he will be missing the next 3 games. What does this mean for Jimmy Butler's legacy if he's able to pull this off?
If he's able to pull it off, he goes down as one of the greatest playoff performers of all time in the NBA. And I don't even think it's close. Like if he pulls this off, if he takes this group of Warriors, this is more impressive than what he did with the Heat, taking them all the way to the finals. Because the Warriors are not a very good basketball team. They have 3 really good players in Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, who, yes, Draymond Green's excellent, even though I can't stand him. But they are excellent, those 3. And then around them is just a bunch of fill-in guys. Brzezinski's a perfect example of that. Where else is he even close to being a starter in the NBA?
Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, this would be an all-time accomplishment, but the Warriors are playing with like no pressure because if they lose the series, then it's like, okay, well, Curry was hurt, they're out. Cavs have a little bit of that in the sense of that if Mobley and Garland don't return for this series, kind of switch the question a little bit. Who would you put as under the most duress, under the most pressure?
The Celtics, because they're going to get clowned for a year if they lose.
Player, I like Tatum. I think Tatum or Anthony Edwards has the most because Jason Tatum.
I think Ant-Man still has a couple years of good grace. I really do. Before he's fully developed, Jason Tatum's already been in the center of everybody.
To Tatum's credit, he's won a title.
He won a title, but he was a goofball about it.
What does that mean?
Everything is possible. He recreated the Kevin Garnett moment. That was great and authentic. And when Jason Tatum did it, he looked like a dork.
Well, Tatum has won. There's a lot of pressure on Anthony Edwards. Because of the Curry injury. If you lose to the Warrior team, it'd be one thing if they lose to Oklahoma City, they're a superior team. But he's been talking about Kingslayer, talking about I took out Durant last year, I took out LeBron this year. I guess you don't really have a
Batman,
chance.
Superman, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, and 5.
Yeah, we had to hear that. God. But I can't really take out Curry because he's hurt. Anthony Edwards got a lot of pressure. Because like the Nuggets won a few years ago, so it's like if they go out, it's not really the biggest deal in the world. I guess Shea, but this is kind of the first season they've done that. Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards certainly have the most pressure on them for the remaining of these playoffs.
All right, well, let's get out of here with some tickets right now. If you want to go see the Outlaw Music Festival, Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hole live May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Caller number 7, you're going to that show, 877-767-4760. Give Sammy a call. Tell him all about why the Celtics are the greatest basketball team ever. He would love to hear that. And you could be going
You're
to
not
see.
winning the tickets if you say that.
You can go see Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan out at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. All right, we got Coach coming up in 15 minutes. The Coach Kentera talking some pods coming up next. A little more on these NBA playoffs. And there's some NFL headlines rocking on May 8th that we got to get to. San Diego Sports 760. Congratulations to Leonard, who just won those Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. We will have one more chance for you to win coming up tomorrow on the show. We got Coach Kentera jumping on in about 14 minutes from right now. But in the NFL, some news actually coming down today. Did you see what Tom Brady had to say to Shedeur Sanders after he fell, day 3 in the NFL draft? Who knew? We'd get a Pope in 2 days. Shedeur took 3 days.
Shedeur took 3. Are you saying Shedeur is as important as the Pope?
I mean,
less important because there's he took 1 more day.
Media coverage. We got 3 days of Shedeur Sanders nonstop. What? It's been a day and a half of Pope coverage. The Pope is probably a little more important than Shedeur Sanders, but Tom Brady was just on one of the Paul brothers podcasts, and he was saying, I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very, very well. And I said, dude, like whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was picked 199, so who can speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it. I've said it 100 times since the draft, it feels like, but Shedeur Sanders has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever when the Cleveland Browns show up to training camp. If he goes out and shuts everybody up, I think that'd be one of the most satisfying storylines of the NFL season as 2025 gets underway in a couple months here.
Yeah, we keep going back to it, but you feel bad for the guy. Like
I don't feel bad for him.
No, I do in this sense because he didn't do anything wrong. He's just being him, and I get it. Maybe that's off-putting. Maybe there's a bunch of smoke and mirrors with the whole interviewing thing. Maybe he was a jerk to everyone in the interview process. And then maybe he deserves some of it. But the hit campaign that it feels like everyone went on when this guy hasn't really done anything wrong that we know of. There's no court cases. There's no nothing. It's just because he's his dad. And yes, he plays into it a little bit. But, I mean, you can't do it. But if you took the last name off, you took Sanders off the back of the jersey, I mean, there's no reason he should have been a 5th-round pick. And it's going to be interesting if he's good. If he's good and the Browns then are talking about, we got our franchise quarterback, he might dip out because they clearly don't want him. The owner is the only reason they drafted him. We go back to that clip of Andrew Berry when they picked him, and they looked like they were like, oh, okay, great. Now we got to deal with all these questions about Shedeur Sanders.
It looks like you're sitting at home asking your wife what you want to do for dinner, and she says you got to go somewhere healthy, and you're like, oh, well, it's not really my pick then, is it? We got to go get sushi? Come on. It's not really my pick. I'd go for the burger and fries. But yeah, Shedeur Sanders going at what ended up being 155th overall. That's only 40 picks away from Tom Brady.
Kind of another thing though, I also hate in the draft when they get to day 3 and they play the Brady montage. Every time they get to his pick and it's the Tom. I'm like, we know he was picked this late in the draft. We've heard the story a gazillion times.
Just wait, because 10 years from now, when Brock Purdy has
no one will be talking about Brock Purdy.
3 Super Bowl trophies sitting in his locker room. Everyone's going to be like, oh, with Mr. Irrelevant, you could be picking the next Super Bowl MVP.
They'll be like, oh, man. They're like, oh, this is what happens when you get tricked from one season of good play, and then you end up giving them a $250 million contract.
2 seasons of good play, please.
Was last year a season of good play?
No, but the 2 before that were. He took over halfway through the season. So 1.5 years of good play.
I think you could have a bag of Doritos at quarterback for the Niners during those 2 seasons, and they would be okay.
Oh, I want to clip that and send it to Brock Purdy so he can use that as motivation or your bulletin board material like you keep talking about.
Brock Purdy's not good enough to be motivated by bulletin board material.
Sammy Long, man, you just watch it, bro. 2025 about to be his year. The Cowboys, they made a deal to bring in George Pickens, who, I mean, at the very least, you could say is a bit of a head case coming over to play wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys now. But I saw a stat about wide receivers who leave the Pittsburgh Steelers and where they go next. And Antonio Brown was the first one, and he averaged over 85 yards a game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Over the rest of his career with both the Patriots and then with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was averaging less than 60 yards per game as a wide receiver. Santonio Holmes, same thing, was averaging like 70-something yards a game as a wide receiver with the Steelers. When he moved on, it was by a factor of 20. Juju Smith-Schuster, same thing. All of them averaging way, way less per game than they did when they were with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. Big Ben Roethlisberger was a hell of a quarterback, and he found ways to get everybody open who he was playing with. So with Juju Smith-Schuster, with Antonio Brown, even with Santonio Holmes through the end of his career, Big Ben Roethlisberger had a lot to do with that. That dude was a stat piler. But it does go to show the grass ain't always greener. And when you have Mike Tomlin as a head coach, if you're bitching and moaning in that locker room, it's probably not going to be better at the next place you go to. Because Mike Tomlin, for years, how many people say, man, I wish I would have gotten to play for, and Mike Tomlin is the name in that list. And so for years, Mike Tomlin has had this insane production from wide receivers that he drafts and develops. Even as a defensive head coach, wide receivers work in the Pittsburgh Steelers program. This might end up being a disaster for George Pickens going to Dallas with Dak Prescott, who we'll see. Feels like he's in the twilight of an often injured career. And with Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach, who we have no idea what he's going to be as a head coach.
Well, you go from one of the most stable organizations in the entire National Football League to the least stable organization in the National Football League.
I mean, the second or third least.
Who's less?
Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets exist.
That's fair. But they don't get, the Browns don't get the media attention that Dallas does. And this is where, again, on paper, this is a great ad. You have a top receiver combo in the entire league. But Jerry Jones, I go back to this. I was praising him last week for getting Tyler Booker. You get a right guard in the draft in the first round. Does that make headlines? No. Are people talking about when they go winners and losers from the draft? Are they going, oh, Tyler Booker is going to change everything? No, they just took a solid pick that was going to help Dak Prescott stay upright. But then a week later, what do we have to do? We have to go make the big move that's going to cause all the headlines. Everyone's talking about it. And if it works out, it's great. But if Mike Tomlin, there was a report yesterday from a local radio station in Pittsburgh that he was the direct guy that wanted him out. Mike Tomlin, not the owner going, I'm sick of this, I'm not paying him, so we're going to trade him. Mike Tomlin, who knows that he's been on the hot seat and they've been talking about possibly getting rid of him, knowing he needs a big season, has not gotten a quarterback and was okay with getting Pickens out of there, knowing that he only has one legit receiver now. There's clearly something wrong there, and the Cowboys just either don't care and want to sell jerseys, or they think that they're going to be able to handle it.
The best analysis I saw on all this came from X, social media, where people just get to say things, and if you say something funny enough, it's going to go viral. Somebody said George Pickens really went from having nobody to throw him the ball in Pittsburgh to having nobody be able to throw him the ball in Dallas, but being on Fox at 425 every time. It was the perfect tweet.
Are you saying Dak Prescott's not better than Mason Rudolph?
What are we doing with Dak Prescott this year? I really don't know. He's had years. Recently he was top MVP finisher 2
years ago.
2 years ago. He's had seasons where he puts up a ton of stats. Has Dak Prescott ever been out of the first round of the postseason? Maybe once in his career. I don't know that he ever has.
Won 2 playoff games. He beat Seattle one time, and then they went into Tampa Bay and let them up that one time.
You're right. And then Jimmy Garoppolo handed him the business in the NFC divisional round.
Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo did handle him the business.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one because the sun was in his eyes. I think that was also maybe the game that Zeke Elliott was the center on the final play of the game. Oh, it was so good. But seriously, Dak Prescott at this point, he's in his mid-30s now. Dak Prescott not getting any younger. He's only getting more injured as his career unfolds. I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't know what this does for the Cowboys' future. I cannot believe they paid him that much money last year.
Dak's the only reason they might be able to keep, because Dak, for all the grief that people give him,
is he going to be able to run this year?
I don't know, but he's a stable quarterback. He doesn't have a big head. He keeps it pretty. To Dak Prescott's credit, he keeps it pretty like manicured at the podium. Imagine being a player, the quarterback of a team, when the owner's giving a press conference while you're speaking post game, giving them crazy quotes about how they need to make changes and calling direct players out, and then having to answer it when reporters spring it on you. Dak Prescott's pretty good at all that, but Brian Schottenheimer's clearly Jerry Jones' puppet, so we'll see if Dak Prescott can coach the team. If not, it might be a disaster in Dallas.
That's probably enough Cowboys talk for the next month or so. I would say the last 2 days we've been pretty heavy Cowboys.
They'll do something dumb in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe they'll bring in Jadeveon Clowney, who just got released from the Carolina Panthers today. Do me a favor. Look, if you are thinking about selling your home, buying a new home, or refinancing your loan, there's one person to call. His name is Gary Cooper. You can call him today at 858-376-1299 or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. My wife and I are working with Gary to look for our future home, the biggest investment we'll ever make in our life, the most stable investment we'll ever make in our life. And we're only trusting one person to do that. We went to 5 different companies. We got 5 different answers. And then we went to Gary Cooper and he gave it to us straight. It was about a 2-hour meeting we had with Gary where he walked us through every situation curtailed to us in our financial situation and explained how it was possible for us to buy a home, how it was possible for us to do it without spending nearly as much money as we would have through some of the other companies. That's what Gary prides himself on. He's been eliminating the smoke and the mirrors and the shell games when it comes to mortgages. He's told you why when you call 5 different companies like we did, you get 5 different answers concerning interest rates and closing costs and how no points, no cost loans really work. Call Gary Cooper today. Call Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty today at 858-376-1299 and get it straight, right? Why would you trust someone from out of market over somebody who's been here for the last 20 years, who's been doing mortgages in this market over to the last 20 years? Gary Cooper is the absolute man. He makes you feel a little more comfortable when you're talking about the biggest investment, the biggest purchase you will ever make in your life. So whether you're selling your home, whether you're looking for ways to refinance your home, or whether you are looking to purchase your first home, like me, call Gary Cooper today, 858-376-1299. Again, 858-376-1299. Tell him Fletch sent you at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty.
This report is sponsored by Bill Howe Plumbing. In the NBA tonight, the Warriors will be in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves for Game 2. The Warriors stole Game 1, but Steph Curry will be out for this one as well as the next couple games. Minnesota is currently favored by 10.5 points with the point total set at 201.5. That game will be going at 5:30. In the NHL game of the night at 6:30, Edmonton will be in Vegas for Game 2. Edmonton had their third comeback win, the third period of the postseason in Game 1. It is currently a pick'em in Vegas. Traffic may be slow, but your trains don't have to be. The experts at Bill Howe have been helping San Diego with their plumbing needs for 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE because we know how. License number 488-413.
Great song, Sammy. That's what I'm talking about. We're going back to Fast and the Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious, I believe. It's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. And every week around this time, we get to have our chat with the coach. Coach Kentera joining us today. You can find him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. Coach, how are we doing today?
Fletch, we're doing well. Still watching a little baseball today. I'm watching the Padres' opponent starting tomorrow for the next 3 days. The Colorado Rockies, they get the opportunity to play a doubleheader today against the Detroit Tigers. And so far, not going real well. They're down big early 9-0. They were threatening, though, to score a couple runs in the bottom of the fifth. But, man, they've only got 6 wins all year. Can you believe that?
Nothing's going real well for the Colorado Rockies this year, Coach. They are threatening the White Sox record that they just set last year for like the worst team in baseball history. But let's start with these Padres before we get to the Rockies, Coach. Last couple days, bullpen been giving up some runs. Is this an issue to what has been the best bullpen in all of baseball leading up to literally the last 2 days?
I don't think it's an issue. I mean, obviously what happened Tuesday night was unfortunate. Morejon, who's pitched so well, and Wandy Peralta, they just didn't have it. Last night, Jason Adam, who I think the Padres are going to have to really keep their eye on. He has pitched a lot so far this year. And I know Mike Field would like to give him a day off here and there, but he's been so dependable. And, last night he just really didn't have his good stuff. But I think in the course of 162 games, those things are going to happen. But, man, that one last night really hurt. They had the lead 2 different times. Granted, they were only up 1-0 before Bellinger tied it, but then they get the 3-1 lead, and Trent Grisham goes down and bangs one out of the ballpark. That hurt, a 2-run homer to tie it. And, they certainly had their opportunities with their big boys up there in the 10th inning and couldn't get it done at all. But, the thing that was unfortunate, I actually tweeted this last night. I love baseball, and that game last night, I don't know if anybody, saw it, or I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience saw it. It was a hell of a baseball game, and for it to end with that Manfred Mann guy on second base. I mean, I know you're going to blow out your bullpen, but that's kind of old school baseball. That was a great baseball game last night. I'm just sorry it ended the way it did with having the runner out there on the bases that, start off the inning. Of course, the Padres had their opportunity to score and didn't do it, but I'd like to see a few more innings of that game. That was a hell of a baseball game last night.
Coach, speaking of that game, Xander Bogaerts doesn't come through. 2 outs, bases loaded. What are your thoughts on Xander Bogaerts? Do you think he's getting too much criticism or not enough?
Well, Manny's had his struggle last night too, but Manny's been great. I mean, going into that bat last night, he was hitting 375 with runners in scoring position. I think Xander's actually swinging the bat pretty well, Sam. I think he's driven in some runs in the last week. I think you're starting to see him be a little bit more aggressive. He's still, I think, got to maybe clean up his strike zone a little bit. He seems to go for that outside breaking ball a little bit too much. That tells me maybe he's not seeing it as well as he would probably like. But, I think he's playing better, and he's drove in some key runs in the last week. I kind of like how he's trending right now, and overall I think he's done a real nice job at shortstop.
Hopefully Xander can keep it going. We got Coach Kentera on the line today here on San Diego Sports 760. Dylan Cease finally breaks out of this season-long slump he's been in. He has a no-hitter going for a while yesterday, and then as soon as that Chiron pops up on the TV, no-hitter gone. But Dylan Cease leaves the game. He calls him his own number and asks to be taken out, dealing with hand or forearm cramps that were causing his arm to shut or his hand to shut a little bit. Coach, you ever seen anything like that? What, forearm cramps on a pitcher?
Oh, yeah, and sometimes, Fletch, what happens, you lose the feeling in your fingers because of the friction from the seams and the baseball. That'll happen every once in a while, and if that happens, you just got to quit throwing. Now, as far as Cease last night, I actually thought he wanted to stay in. What I thought was kind of odd, and again, I know these ball clubs, there's so much money invested in these ball players now. They're going to always side on the side of caution, and I get that if it's an arm injury, but that was a hand thing more than anything else. And I thought, it looked like Cease was trying to talk the trainer and chilled into staying in the ball game. And what I would like to see, I'd like to see him throw a couple pitches to see how he felt, but they didn't even get to that point, and he just come out of the ball game and went to the bullpen. And, I get it to a certain degree, but in that situation, if it was an arm or a shoulder or a knee or something that could really hurt his delivery, I totally get it. But, he may have just, came across, got a quick cramp and maybe a couple of throws to the catcher, maybe not even full bore, just, light throws, kind of worked his way out of that. But, they do what they do now. They take guys out, and again, always trying to stay away from anything serious.
Coach, the Padres have struggled against some upper tier competition, the Yankees and the Cubs. Do you think there's anything to that they're struggling against the upper tier teams, or just they haven't played enough this early?
Well, I think I think this ball club is really, really good. In fact, I'll let you know. So AJ Preller texted me this morning, wanted to know how I was doing and checking on me, and we went back and forth a little bit. And I told him, I go, AJ, this ball club is good. This really is truly a ball club. And not only are they performing very well on the field, I think they've really galvanized one another. Everybody's pulling for one another. I haven't seen a Padre ball club like this in many, many years. In fact, and there've been some good clubs and some really good people on Padre clubs, but I was around that 98 ball club a lot. And I know that team gets thrown around a lot because they got to the World Series, but that team was tight. They had a lot of veterans. Everybody pulled for one another. Anybody that walked into that clubhouse, via a trade or a waiver claim, they instantly became part of the family. And I really like what Mike Schilt and A.J. Preller have done. They brought in some guys that like playing baseball, like that Luis Ariz. That guy, we can't let that guy get out of town, guys. I'm going to tell you, he's a hard-working guy. He's a great guy. He comes every day to be better. Guys like that, we got to find a way, and ownership's going to have to find a way to keep them. They can't let that guy get out of here. I don't care if he hits with power or no power at first base. That guy's a hell of a baseball player who the game means something to.
I'm glad you brought that up, Coach, because I think that the moment in Game 1 against the Yankees that sort of signifies that, and not that it's Mike Schilt getting thrown out of the game. Like, we could see that happen a lot throughout a Major League Baseball season, but Mike Schilt going out and then the reaction from the players. Manny Machado immediately finds Kevin Acee after the game. He's dropping all sorts of F-bombs, but he's saying, yeah, Mike fired us the F up. Xander Bogart says, we know Mike has our back, and that's why I love playing for him. Fernando Tatis Jr., something similar. It wasn't necessarily the moment of Mike Schilt getting tossed, but it was the reaction from the players. It does seem like a pretty unified squad this year. How much would you give Mike Schilt credit, if not all of it, for that?
Well, I think we got to give him a lot of credit. I think we got to give AJ and Mike a lot of credit, and the staff. Everybody is on the same page. And let's go back, and I don't know who started what, but, we always heard about the rift between A.J. Preller and Bob Melvin. And that went away. Mike Schilt had been in the organization. He had observed what was going on. And him and A.J. have worked very, very well. We don't talk about A.J. Preller very much. It's all about Mike Schilt. If you go back to Bob Melvin's last year, it was always talking about, A.J. Preller and Mike Schilt. But, A.J., I think in some ways, because the ball club has played so well, he's been a little bit of the forgotten man, but over the last couple of years, he's put together some tremendous rosters.
It's pretty easy when you're the guy at the top. You take all the blame when things are going bad. You don't get any of the credit when things are going good. It is interesting because you look at the moves, the Nick Pivetta, or even a couple years ago, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha come in, perform really well. Last year, Michael King and Matt Waldron, at least through the first half of the season, were really, really good. And this year, Nick Pivetta has been the Padres ace so far. With A.J. Preller, it is always interesting. And I find myself to blame for that a lot sometimes, is when things are going bad, pretty easy to point right at A.J. Preller. But when things are going good, it's like, yeah, it's all Mike Schilt. The problem, I think, is it's a lot like offensive linemen in the NFL. If you're not noticing them, they're doing a really good job. So this year, A.J. Preller doing a really good job. Before we let you go, Coach, any thoughts on the Rockies as the Padres head there for the next 3? Is there anything to worry about? I know Coors Field, kind of a scary place to play for the Padres.
Well, I think anytime you go into Coors Field, I think it kind of evens things out. The Rockies do have some good young players. I mean, Brenton Doyle's won a couple of Gold Gloves. Tofar, the little young shortstop, he's won a Gold Glove. I mean, these guys are very early in their career. Michael Tolley, a former All-American at UCLA, doesn't hit for much average, but he hit 25 home runs last year. They've got some guys that can hurt you. Their pitching, obviously, their bullpen has been used. But Herman Marquez, Antonio Senzatella, those guys can get major league hitters out. And they're always a problem for the Padres. And, the thing that's amazing about Colorado, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to Coors Field. I've been there a few different times. It's a beautiful ballpark. It's a beautiful downtown. The fans, they come from all over the region to come watch the Rockies, even though they're not very good. They lost 100 games each of the last couple of years, I think. They'll be competitive, and Buddy Black's still the manager. Guys will still play hard for him, and a lot of people are saying, how can Buddy Black still be the manager as bad as they are? Well, you know what? Buddy Black's a good baseball man. I think ownership realizes they haven't really given him much.
Coach, real quick before we get out of here, Jackson Merrill over 2 games goes 4 for 8. Do you think he's like at age 21, 22, like one of the biggest leaders on this team, or is that too early to say?
I don't know about being a leader, but I know this. He's a guy that wants to be up in a pressure situation. Some guys, they They'd rather somebody else be in that batter's box with the game on the line, or a pitcher out on the mound doesn't want to have the ball with the game on the line. But Jackson Merrill, he looks forward to those opportunities. And I think more than anything else, whether he's a leader or not, I think all the veterans have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And therefore, he's right there with Manny and Fernando and all the rest of the guys that have been around and been a big part of this ball club the last couple of years.
And we talk about Fernando's numbers. Like, if he keeps this up, he could be pushing for an NL MVP. If Jackson Merrill keeps this up, he also could be pushing for an NL MVP. Coach, we appreciate your time in a big way at San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube. The coach is going live there a few days a week. You can find him there. Coach, have a great day, man. Thank you for being here.
All righty, boys. Thanks for having me, as always.
Coach is the best. We appreciate his time each and every single week. All right, coming up next, we're going to do something fun. We're getting Big Marsh back on the mic. So, Marsh, you're going to need to make your way back in here. Question for the text line, 70470. Start your message with team. If you were to pick one San Diego Sports 760 employee to run with you in battle, to be your guy in the buddy cop scenario, who would it be? You got Sammy Long, John Schaefer, Brent Sperry, Ben Fletcher, and Jim Russell. And yes, Jim was put last on purpose. Let us know on the text line, 70470. Start your message with team. We got a real life veteran who's going to answer that question coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. Download. Sorry, Rich. That was on me. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. Prize Picks is my favorite daily fantasy sports app I have ever played, and I've tried them all, but I've been with Prize Picks since November of 2023. Have a lot of fun playing this app, and I've gotten to meet the people that run the company. They are some of the best, man. They have as much fun running the company as I have playing with their company. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch, get that $50 bonus, and put in a $5 lineup to get the bonus. This is what we have going tonight. Podziemski for the Warriors, more than 13 points. Anthony Edwards for the T-Wolves, more than 40.5 points, rebounds, assists. Connor McDavid in hockey, more than 3.5 shots on goal tonight. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, more than 17.5 pitching outs for the Dodgers. Throw that lineup in. Sammy's on a one-day streak. Maybe he'll go on a two-day streak here. But that is a $20 lineup to win $250. Download Prize Picks today. Use promo code Fletch. Get that $50 bonus and start running your game all season long, no matter what sport you're into. Baseball, hockey, basketball, soccer, does not matter. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch and run your game all season long on Prize Picks. San Diego FC back on the pitch Saturday night, taking on St. Louis SC on the road. You can hear the match live Saturday night, starting at 5 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for SDFC. We have Tom Penn, the CEO of SDFC, coming on the show tomorrow at 12:30. Talk about a new partnership they got going on with SDFC. We'll also preview that match a little bit. But right now, we got to bring him back. Big Marsh on the mic. What up, Marsh? How are we?
What's up, everybody?
We first met Marshall on Tuesday this week, I believe. We did Marsh shots where he picked against Sammy's long shots. Neither of them won, so it was a disaster. But Marshall was closer that night, wasn't he, Sammy?
Yes.
Just
yes.
Tyrese.
I will give it up to Marshall, not you.
Yeah.
Marshall, the newest member of our San Diego Sports 760 family. We're all super stoked to have him.
Happy to be here.
So I didn't know, Marshall, but you were military in a previous life.
Yes, I served aboard the USS Alabama out in Silverdale, Washington, subbase Bangor.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service. You have to say that, right?
Appreciate it. Thank you. I did 3 patrols on a nuclear submarine, averaging about 85 to 89 days straight.
So you're like a real man.
He is a real man. So one of my best buddies, actually, he's a helicopter pilot in the Navy down here in San Diego. He's based out in Coronado. And he told me one of our first interactions, we were sitting down at a bar in Coronado, and he talked about how badass submariners are because you guys have the hardest life when you're actually on deployment.
Yes.
And that you are living in tiny little boxes. So and you're just underwater. Most of you don't get to look outside at all. And then I went and I did a tour with my other show, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. We did a tour of the USS Santa Fe. And tiny is an understatement. I mean, it's the most magnificent thing you've ever seen. It's like how much technology can get backed into something that could be out for 6 months at a time, but your living quarters are miniature.
Yes.
Marshall,
absolutely.
you're not a small dude. How did you fit?
So, and there was a guy that was 6'7", a torpedo man that was on my boat. So essentially in between the missile tubes is the bunk rooms. And it's, you walk in 1, 2, 3 on your right side, in the middle, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So seniority is, the new guys sleep at the bottom, and then the other guys who have more tenure, we call them old salty dogs. They pick where they want, and then
Salty dogs.
Yes.
And did you have to do the run where you have to go all the way into the torpedo tube, all the way to the other end of the?
No, because I got in right when they were getting rid of the hazing.
Okay.
So, but I did take my, I did get hazed, but not like the way that like that you think.
So Marshall, we have. So you met everyone. You've been
Yes.
here, what, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks?
Yes.
2-3
about
weeks.
3 weeks now.
Okay. So you met us, you met Brent, you met John, Jim, everyone. Who would be the worst in a submarine to deal with and be your partner? And be honest, we can take it.
I wouldn't say the word. Well,
who would be the worst at their job?
Well, it depends on what job though. So there's the A gangers. Those are the mechanics. Then there's the nukes that are back there by the nuclear reactor. Then you have the sonar guys, the missile techs.
Because I would say I would not want to be next to Jim Russell.
Yeah.
In a submarine.
Yeah. Sammy publicly states he doesn't know how to do math.
I would say probably Jim would be a one with the nukes, the nuclear engineers.
We trust Jim with the nukes.
Well, just the personalities.
I think it's the power.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
he would be back there with the nukes.
As you can tell, I wasn't in the military.
I would say John would be the in the navigator with the sonar and the navigator.
John's got everything under control.
I would say my boy Fletch, A ganger.
What's up?
And then my guy Sam with missile techs. You know what I mean? Out there shooting the missiles. Yeah.
You're that missile tech,
Yeah.
Fletch.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility for Sammy. Are you sure, Marshall?
I'm just saying that, just the vibe of my shipmates that I can recall, their personalities.
Yeah.
That's where you guys would always fit.
See,
Because Sammy says things like low key, that puts him up with the missile text.
I'd be like, low key, we're firing this missile.
Low key, about to pop off, bro.
Exactly.
See, I mean, we're not going to disagree with the veteran. He said I would be a missile tech, and that's going to be on my new Tinder profile.
There
now.
it is.
All right. We do have a couple more questions from Marshall, but I did want to get to this on YouTube. The O-Siders commenting on our YouTube page. Coach Kentera, I'm listening to 760 from now on. I was listening to other stuff, tuned over to 760, and the coach just made my day. We have the coach on O-Siders. First of all, thank you for trying us out. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We do have Big Marsh on the mic in here right now. Spending the last couple minutes of the show with us.
Yeah.
But the coach is on every single Thursday at 1:30. We love chatting with the coach.
Coach is the best, man.
Yeah.
He's we're talking. We've all known the coach. He's best thing about Coach. He's the same on air as he is off. He is the most genuine dude there is, and He knows his sports.
How about the name drop from the coach too? AJ was texting me earlier today.
AJ texted me this morning. Not a big
nice
deal.
little flex. Got a quick story about the coach. I met him when I was doing the PA announcer for the Strike Force at the Sports Ring the last 2 years. And Coach and Steve Quist were doing the play-by-play. So this is the first time I met him in person. And he's amazing. The same way you hear him, the energy on the radio, he's the same way in person. So
well,
great.
Sam,
shout out to Coach.
Xander Bogaerts actually been playing pretty good. Sam,
Yeah, you check me on my Bogart tape.
All right, that's about it for us today. But Marshall, I want you to see if you can put Jim Russell in a rear naked chokehold on your way out.
Well, I used to train jiu-jitsu at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. So.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu Jim's ass out of the studio. That'd be nice.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited that I would be a missile tech.
Yeah.
It's like the nicest compliment I've ever
I
gotten.
mean, how much responsibility is that really?
It's a lot of training, but like I said, the personalities you all would fit.
That's right. Marshall knows. Well, I mean, we're agreeing with Marshall.
Like,
so.
does he have to do math though?
Oh yeah, there's
We can have someone
coordinates
next
in the
to me
missile
doing that.
house, and yeah,
You got to have confidence to be the missile tech.
they have a 24-hour watch, so someone's sitting there in the missile house ready to launch.
I'm up
at
all
any
night
moment.
anyway.
Yeah.
We're good.
So yeah,
I'm there.
Sam, never mind. Not going to say it. All right, John and Jim are coming up next
Right
at
on.
San Diego Sports 760. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here today. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. If you missed anything, catch it on the podcast. Just search Fletch Zone on the free iHeartRadio app. You can find it there. We will see you tomorrow. Marsh, you coming back tomorrow?
I will be here.
Good man. All right, John and Jim next.